and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I mean, the supposition that there is a whole may be apparently reasonable, but as long as you're fragmented,
Right.
you could never see it.
Of course.
It would be just an assumption.
Right, right.
You may think you experienced it once, but that's also an assumption because you don't. That's gone already.
Absolutely, quite right.
Right. You know, I wonder if there's not a tremendous pain or something that goes on when I'm aware of my fragmentation. I mean, that's the loneliness somehow or other.
Look, sir, can you be aware of your fragments? That you are an American, that I'm a Hindu, you are a Jew, you are a communist, this. You just live in that state.
Yeah.
You don't say, well, I know I am a Hindu. It's only when you are challenged. It's only when you are, say, what are you? Then you say, yes, I'm an Indian, or a Hindu, or an Arab.
Or when the country is challenged and you
Yes,
have
when
to
the
go to
country-
war, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So you're saying that I'm living totally reactively?
No, you're totally living in a kind of, what? Miasma, confusion.
From one piece to the next,
Yeah.
from one reaction to the next reaction.
Reward and punishment in that movement.
Right.
So can we be aware, actually now, of the various fragments? That I am a Hindu, that I am a Jew, that I am an Arab, that I am a communist, that I am a Catholic, that I am a businessman, I am married, I have responsibilities, I am an artist, I am a scientist. You follow these various sociological fragmentations,
right.
as well as psychological fragmentation.
Right. That's exactly what I started with. Right. This feeling that I am a fragment, this feeling that's where I get absorbed, is being a fragment.
Which you call the individual.
That I call important, not just the individual.
You call that important.
Right.
Yes.
That I have to work.
Quite.
See, that it's significant.
So can we now, in talking over together, be aware that I am that. I am a fragment, and therefore creating more fragments, more conflict, more misery, more confusion, more sorrow, because when there is conflict, it affects everything. Can you be aware of it as we are discussing?
I can be aware as we're discussing it a little.
Not a little.
That's the trouble. Why can't I be aware of it?
No, sir. You're only aware of it when there is conflict. It is not a conflict in you now.
Yes.
But is it possible to be aware of it without conflict?
That's the next thing, yes. That requires quite a different
Right. Well, how will we consider this different approach?
quite a different approach.
But I was thinking of looking at one point that the importance of these fragments is that when I identify myself and say I am this, I am that, I mean the whole of me. In other words, the whole of me is rich or poor, American or whatever, and therefore it's all important because it's the whole. See, I think it seems that the trouble is that the fragment claims that it's the whole, and makes itself very important.
Right. Takes up the whole life.
Yeah, and then another.
This is life.
Then comes a contradiction, and then comes another fragment, saying it's the whole.
Look what is happening in Northern Ireland. The Arab world, the Mid-Eastern world, the Muslim and the Hindu, you know, this whole world is broken up that way, outside and inside.
Me and you.
Yes, me and you, we and they, and all the rest of it.
But I mean, that's the difference between saying we have a lot of different objects in the room, you know, which are separate and so on, which we can handle. There's no problem there. But if we say I am this, I'm wholly this, then I also say I'm wholly that, and I'm wholly that.
Well, that you're bringing in something different there, though. That is exactly how it is that we come to believe in these fragments, because we look at objects and we say they're separate things, therefore I'm a separate thing.
I question that, sir.
Right.
Say, for instance, the Arab and the Israel. Are they aware that I am an Arab, I want to fight that somebody else who is not? Or I have an idea, you follow? Idea.
Well, what do you mean? An idea that I'm an Arab?
Yes.
But the idea is that that's very important as well. That I am totally an Arab.
Yeah, I'm totally an Arab.
It's all important.
Yes.
That's the form of the idea, isn't it?
Yes.
And now if somebody else has the idea I am a Jew, that's all important. Therefore, they must destroy each other.
Impossible to fight. And I think the politicians, the religions people are encouraging all this.
But they also are running by fragments. I mean,
because they are fragmented themselves. See, that's the whole point. People who are in power, being fragmented, sustain the fragmentation.
Right. Well, it's the only way to get into power is to be fragmented.
Of course.
yeah, well, he says it's all important that I should be a politician and successful and so on.
Of course.
But I mean,
This movement into fragmentation almost, it seems to be caused by something. It seems to be.
Now, if you ask, is this what you're asking? What is the cause of this fragmentation?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. What is the cause of the fragmentation? What breeds it?
Well, that's very simple.
What sucks us into it?
No,
I mean,
what brings about fragmentation?
yeah. Well, you know, what brings it about? When the mother and child when the child separates from the mother, right?
Biologically.
No, psychologically.
Biologically,
the child starts able to walk, and the child can walk away, and then he runs back. And then he runs back, and he looks back. He says, is she still there?
And
gradually moves away. Now, the mother that is not able to let go says, hey, come back here.
Right.
And scares the child to death because the child thinks, I can't do it. If she says I can't do it, I can't do it.
Right. But no, but we are asking something very important, which is, what is the cause of this fragmentation?
Yeah. That's why I was getting into that. There's some cause there. I mean, it begins there, I've got to hold on to something.
No, just look at it, sir. What has brought fragmentation in you?
Well, my immediate response is the need to hold on to something.
No, much deeper than that. Much more. Look at it. Let's go slowly at it. Not immediate responses. What brings this conflict which indicates I'm fragmented? And then I ask the question, what brings this fragmentation?
Right.
What is the cause of it?
are you saying there's a conflict and there something happens that causes fragmentation in the conflict?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Fragmentation causes
Is the cause of the conflict. Now, then what is the cause of the fragmentation?
That's
right. All right, so that's important.
Why am you and I and the majority of the world fragmented? What is the source of it?
Right.